Hello Xenos, this is your Stellaris Community Ambassador, Lady DZ, here with Stellaris Dev Diary number 425, Nomads Roam the Galaxy. What's next? Greetings, travelers. The Stellaris 4.4.1 Pegasus update and Nomads released this Monday. Cygnus TV has created a tutorial on the basics of getting started with Nomads, which you can access via link in our description below. Today we're going to look back at the first few days of Nomads and the Pegasus update, discuss a few common comments that we've seen in the community, and explain where we're going next. The first days and the 4.4.2 and 4.4.3 hotfixes. Very quickly, we saw a number of crash reports coming in. Most of these came down to an issue at low resolutions, under 800 pixels or lower, which truncated the Waystation UI. This led to a crash when the game attempted to update the wayline information that is displayed in the upper section that was no longer there. We put it up as an open beta on Monday, and you, the players, found some issues with the planned hotfix, such as precursor selection disappearing from galaxy generation, so that's a +1 for the open beta. The 4.4.2 hotfix released Tuesday afternoon with the following fixes. Under balance, we reduced the rate of the forever cruise situation speed on all difficulties. We significantly reduced the amount that the situation increases based on game difficulty. These are further reduced from last night's open beta release. Doubled the grace period after completing a crew or passenger contract. It will now pause progress in the passenger satisfaction situation for 24 months. More comprehensive changes will be coming in this weekend's open beta for the patch planned for next week. Under bug fix, the Defenders of the Galaxy achievement should now be completable. Stability, preventing a Waystation UI from crashing in some cases. Fixed a crash that could occur when changing the animated main menu background from the in-game settings screen. Fixed a crash that could occur while the AI was evaluating which contract to take on. Fixed crashing on 800 pixels and lower resolutions when clicking on waystations. Fixed combat crash when calculating ship design states from required component arrays having null object placeholders that defaulted to the weapon type. Fixed crash when escaping combat as an enemy is destroyed. Fixed crash and spawn random anomaly when orbital fleet has no ships. Fixed a crash that could occur when hovering on an Empire's ethics tooltips, including after that Empire was destroyed. Fixed a crash that could occur when hovering ethics tooltips in the Empire setup screen. Fixed a potential crash when opponents were deleted in mid-combat. The stability list included fixes to over 90% of the crashes reported in the first 24 hours. And we made a few changes to the difficulty of the Forever Cruise situation speed on higher difficulties. There's more coming next week, though. The 4.4.3 hotfix was a small one on Wednesday to target a few especially confusing issues. Bug fix. The Void Reaver Civic no longer requires both First Contact and Nomads. Corrected the trust and opinion thresholds required to propose a Waystation pact. Fixed opinion modifiers from Defender of the Galaxy applying when they shouldn't. Decisions we made when designing Nomads. Operation reserves are something that it seems we could have had a bit more clarity about. As mentioned in Dev Diary number 421, operational reserves were introduced as a solution to balance consumption, creating a desire to move about, to harvest and collect, and having an angry red number in your resources bar the last 10 years have trained us all to interpret as emergency, act now, your economy is in shambles, everyone is going to die. But this is intended to be the normal state. Merging energy and minerals into a single, more fungible resource gave us a way to represent the continuous drain of resources while providing several different ways to mitigate it, while hopefully making it not feel the same as a deficit situation in a normal empire. This also gave us the tech we needed to explore a nice niche for a nanotech redesign that the custodians will be looking at during the summer. Some people have commented about the difficulty in getting detailed information about the mineral and energy expenditures. It's a bit obfuscated, but we intended for the operational reserves to be more of a black box where you shouldn't need to care about the exact state of mineral or energy. you shouldn't be using it for much. Construction generally requires more advanced or strategic resources, except for fishing for the Galatron and feeding lithoids. But since energy and minerals are mutually exchangeable, the answer should always be get more of either. There have been many comments about Arkship skins and bio-Arkships. The Arkships are the most complicated ships we've ever created, with 3 different specializations, each with 3 tiers, and a number of other customization options such as the spinal mounts. While we would have loved to include all of them, if we made them to the same detail level of the Arkships we did create, it would have required a total of 20 different ship sets, times 3 Arkship types, times 3 tiers. That's 180 ships. An impossible scope. While we could have cut the different tiers, reducing the count to 60, that's still too much. Cutting the 3 different types as well could have dropped it to 20, but we felt that the civilian versus military versus scientific choices and the multiple tiers of Arkship were a more interesting use of the resources, and we feel that just going with textural changes without form changes wouldn't have been satisfying. If at some point in the future we do add a bio-Arkship, Eladrin would likely want to make it a 4th category with its own mechanics rather than being a copy of one of the other 3, especially since the team decided to permit bioship empires to use the standard Arkship variants. We would likely permit the reverse as well. Empires that use mechanical ships would likely still be allowed to use the bio variant of the Arkship if we went in this direction. The very next step, 4.4.4 Open Beta. We have a larger patch planned for early next week with a few fixes, which we will be pushing to the Stellaris test Open Beta branch later today. If you'd like to read the 4.4.4 Flappy Horse Open Beta release notes, I suggest going to the Paradox forums as there are quite a number of them. Things for the future. The 4.4 Nomads release adapted a large number of origins to nomadic gameplay, but more is always better. Most of the list of disallow origins have technical reasons. We plan on enabling more nomadic fantasies going forward. Storm Chasers and Knights of the Toxic God are on the shortlist, along with further investigation into Broken Shackles. We won't make any promises at this time. Broken Shackles has been especially tricky since the MSI flagship isn't set up quite right to just be turned into an Arkship, but the Custodian team wants to enable as many as possible. Some of these are likely to make it into this summer's 4.5 Cygnus Open Beta. Questions we still have. During the development of 4.4, the programming team spent a lot of time working on multiplayer stability. The data we've collected so far looks very promising regarding out of syncs, but we'd like to hear more from how it's been going for you, even if it's largely anecdotal. We're also eager to hear more about what you like and dislike about nomadic gameplay, so we can adjust our plans for the 4.4.5 patch and 4.5. Questions you had. Last Thursday, we held a developer Q&A on the Stellaris official Discord server. This part of the dev diary has a transcript of 156 of your burning questions and the answers from our developers. We also had some questions gathered by our community ambassador from the Chinese Stellaris community. The translated questions that he gave us and our dev team answers in English are also located in today's dev diary. What's next? Next week, we have our Nomads Art Blast. Eladrin took a peek at the work in progress dev diary, and it's looking really nice. We'll see you next week. And as always, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and we will pass them along to our team.